A woman's purse found in the grass near the entrance to Griffith Park, straps torn loose from both sides, like someone had ripped it off her arm and kept walking. Inside, a note, addressed to a man named Kirk, that stops mid-sentence, in the middle of a comma. That was October the 9th, 1949. The woman it belonged to has never been found. Not her body, not her killer, not one confirmed sighting since. This is the disappearance of Jean Spangler, and after 76 years, it remains one of the strangest unsolved cases in Hollywood history. Jean Spangler was 26 years old, a brown-haired, blue-eyed actress from Seattle who'd come to Los Angeles chasing the same dream as thousands of other young women in the late 1940s. She wasn't famous. She was the woman 2 rows back in a chorus line, a face in a crowd scene, and extra dressed sharp enough that the camera might catch her for half a second. She'd had small bit parts in films alongside stars like Abbott and Costello, glamorous work but not stardom. She had finger-waved hair, a tailored coat, the classic pin-up polish of a late 1940s starlet. She had a 5-year-old daughter, Christine, and she lived a quiet, crowded, ordinary life on Colgate Avenue, in the Park La Brea housing complex with her mother Florence, her brother Edward, her sister-in-law Sophie, and that little girl. On the evening of October the 7th, 1949, Jean told her family 2 things. First, that she was going to meet her ex-husband, a man named Benner, to talk about missed child support. Second, that afterward, she had a night shoot at a studio. She kissed her daughter goodbye around 5 o'clock. She walked out of the apartment on Colgate Avenue, and she never came back. Her family didn't panic right away. An actress out late for a shoot wasn't unusual, but when morning came and Jean still hadn't returned, they called the police, and that's when the first crack appeared in her story. Detectives contacted every studio in Los Angeles that Jean Spangler had ever worked for. Every single one. Not one of them had a night shoot scheduled that evening. Not one. Whatever Jean Spangler was actually doing that night, she had lied to her own family about it. 2 days later, on October the 9th, a passerby found her purse near the Ferndale entrance to Griffith Park, nearly 5.5 miles from her home on Colgate Avenue. Both straps were torn loose on one side, as if it had been wrenched from her arm in a struggle, or in a fall, or in a fight to hold onto it. Los Angeles police mobilized 60 officers and more than 100 volunteers. They combed all 4,107 acres of Griffith Park, the canyons, the brush, the hiking trails, the wooded slopes above the old bridle paths. They searched for days, and they found nothing else. No body, no shoe, no struggle site, no blood. Just a torn purse, sitting in the grass as if it had been placed there and everything else had vanished into thin canyon air. But inside that purse was the detail that has haunted this case for 76 years. A note, handwritten, unfinished. It read, "Kirk, can't wait any longer, going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way while Mother is away." And then it just stops, mid-sentence, on a comma. Like she was interrupted while writing it, or like she never intended to finish it at all. Who was Kirk? Detectives had exactly one famous lead. Jean Spangler had recently worked on a film alongside a rising young actor named Kirk Douglas. The press seized on it immediately. A starlet, a torn purse, a note to a man named Kirk, and a real Hollywood name attached. It looked for one blistering news cycle like Kirk Douglas might be the key to the whole case. He wasn't. Douglas was questioned and his account held up completely. He said he'd never met Jean Spangler off-set. That, on the film they'd worked on together, she was simply, in his own words, a tall girl in a green dress, that he'd talked and kidded with a little between takes, nothing more. He had an alibi. He was in Palm Springs when Jean disappeared, nowhere near Los Angeles. Investigators cleared him quickly and thoroughly. There is no serious evidence then or now that Kirk Douglas had anything to do with what happened to Jean Spangler. If you've heard otherwise, That's the case's most persistent myth talking, not the record. So, if not Kirk Douglas, then who? And who was Dr. Scott, the name in the note that police could never trace to any real physician in Los Angeles? Nobody named Dr. Scott. Nobody named Kirk who could be tied to the crime. A note built entirely around two people who investigators could never prove existed at all. The more promising thread led somewhere darker. Witnesses told police that in the weeks before she disappeared, Jean Spangler had been seen in the company of a man named Davy Ogle, a known associate of Mickey Cohen, the mobster who ran much of the illegal gambling and rackets across Los Angeles at the time. Ogle was under federal indictment for conspiracy when Jean vanished. And here is the detail that still unsettles investigators who've studied this case since. 2 days after Jean Spangler disappeared, Davy Ogle disappeared too. He skipped bail, walked out of his life, and was never seen in Los Angeles again. The following year, in 1950, a customs agent working the border crossing in El Paso, Texas, reported seeing a man matching Ogle's description, traveling with a woman who looked like Jean Spangler. A hotel clerk nearby said the same thing. He recognized her face from a newspaper photograph, but when police checked the hotel register, neither of their names appeared anywhere on it. No paper trail, no confirmation, just two witnesses, independently, pointing toward the same impossible idea: that Jean Spangler might have walked away from her old life entirely, with a man connected to organized crime, and simply kept walking. It's worth clearing up one more misconception before we close this file, because Jean Spangler was a young actress who vanished in Los Angeles. Los Angeles just 2 years after the murder of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, reporters in 1949 couldn't resist drawing the comparison. Two beautiful chefs-d'œuvre, young women chasing the same Hollywood dream, both connected to sinister rumors, both cases that shocked the city. But that comparison was speculation dressed up as connection. There is no confirmed link between the two cases. No shared suspect was ever charged in either one. The resemblance is a headline, not a fact. What we're left with, 76 years later, is this: a torn purse in Griffith Park, an unfinished note to a man who may not exist, a rumor, never confirmed, that Jean Spangler was 3 months pregnant when she vanished, a missing mobster who disappeared on almost the same day, and a sighting at the Mexican border that goes nowhere because the paper trail simply stops. No body was ever found. No arrest was ever made. Jean Spangler's daughter grew up without ever learning what happened to her mother that October evening on Colgate Avenue. And somewhere between a Park La Brea apartment and a torn purse in Ferndale, the true story of what happened to her disappeared right along with her. If this is the kind of case that gets under your skin, this is exactly what we dig into every week here in Unsolved Files. Next time, we're opening a file just as strange and just as cold. Until then, if you've got a theory about Jean Spangler or Kirk or Dr. Scott, leave it below. Somebody somewhere still knows.